Back in the day when I was younger, we used to go out for Mother's Day every year. It was my family, which was my grandmother, my mom, my great aunts, and my cousins, which is the Renos, my aunt Isabel, and my cousin Regina, and whomever else wanted to go. Then we had other friends and family who we still consider family join us also sometimes. So this particular time, we all went to a restaurant, and I think it was a buffet. I can't even remember because we used to hit the buffets up. and and so because you have a lot of people, and that's a good cheap price for everybody to be able to go and everything.
Yeah,
so anyway, this particular time, my aunt Irene, of course, who we've mentioned before, which is
Grandma Ernestine's sister,
right. Had fell at the restaurant. Okay. So my cousin Regina Reno, instead of helping her up, she asked her where she get them shoes from. When I tell you we was rolling, she said, "Bitch, I'm trying to get off the fucking floor, and you gonna ask me about my fucking shoes?" But she did tell her where she got them from.
But anyway,
and they were some really nice shoes.
Right.
But we used to have wonderful Mother's Days. We still have very good Mother's Days now. It's not that many of us around,
Right.
like it was before. Cousins are gone, grandmothers are gone, great aunts are gone. Members who have passed on, but we still have really good Mother's Day. And so I wanted to tell you that story about that. That was so funny.
Where you get them shoes?
Right.
Hey, and it's so funny that she actually told her.
Right. And cussed her out as usual.
Right. So cool. All right. So that was a moment of nostalgia, and thank you for joining us. What up, doe? And welcome to episode 6. Oh, we're on 2 hands now. Look at that.
Hey.
Welcome to episode 6 of Message from Ernestine. We're happy you're here for today's message after our 1-week hiatus. I go by the name LB.
I go by the name Michelle.
We are a black mother and son duo from the legendary city of Detroit.
We're Caucasian. No, I'm just playing.
Whoa. This show just took a whole left turn like Game of Thrones season 8.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. God. So, I'm gonna try that again.
That was funny to me.
We are a black mother and son duo from the legendary city of Detroit. We gather here weekly-ish to honor the memory of my great-grandmother Ernestine, who bestowed wisdom on us that we now want to share with the world. We keep it all the way real during our discussions on current events and various issues that we all deal with as human beings. We also provide advice and tell stories, all from the viewpoint of Generation Y and the millennials, that's me, and Generation X and my mom.
That's me, deuces.
If you'd like to follow along with the conversation that we're having on this here podcast, tag us at msgfrmernestine and use hashtag that is spelled the exact same way. Also use hashtag podin. That's a now listening hashtag that will help more people find our show because it is specifically for shows that are...
Sorry.
You all right over there?
Excuse me.
Need some cough drops?
No, it's the acid reflex.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it does not sound like fun. So just hit us with that other hashtag pod in to help more other people find our show because it's specifically for shows that are created by, hosted by, produced by people of color. And yeah, so we'll retweet, like, respond, and all that good shit. So let's get connected. This is going to be another brief message episode for a number of reasons, including the fact that we skipped last week due to Mother's Day, and we record on Sunday, so we spent last Sunday with family and had a great time. So we're going to ease our way back into this thing, and we also wanted to keep it short and sweet by honoring mothers today. So let's get started with today's message.
Excuse me.
So let's get started with today's message.
Acid reflex is jacked up.
So like I said, in honor of Mother's Day, today's message is about mothers, mothers we know, mothers we admire, etc., all that good stuff. We don't have a lot in our notes today, so we're just kind of going to sit here and talk for a little bit and see what we come up with. So, Ma, I know this was your idea and topic you wanted to start with. So, like, where'd you want to start?
I want to start by saying that, of course, not just because I'm a mother, But ever since I was a kid, I've always thought Mother's Day is my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
Because I was always surrounded by a lot of mothers and aunts and family and friends that were females, just like my son was when he was a kid. Of course, I had one male figure that was in my life always, which was my grandfather. My father was away, and at college, as they say, old school.
He's gonna get a good laugh out of that.
Right. So my
that's
dad
another
was there
story.
when I was a kid, but my grandfather was. But I was mostly around women my entire life.
Yeah.
Still to this day, surrounded by women, and there's some very good men too, also, but mostly women all the time. So Mother's Day has always been extremely special to me. I've always loved, the idea of being a mother. Even when I was a kid, I wanted to be a mother. I used to want 2 kids, get married, have 2 kids, whatever have you. Woo! No, glad I didn't do that. So,
Wait, okay. I know we're focused on Mother's Day and mothers here, but like, when did that change for you? Because first of all, I've never heard you say that.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
my whole life, you've always talked about how, like, like you were done after the 1 kid. So I never heard you talk about you ever being in a scenario where you
wanted to have 2
Yeah.
and get married. Well, that's when I was real young.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, you're a young female, you grow, you're thinking about getting married and how many kids you want. Well, I did. Because one thing I know about being a mother, it's a serious fucking job.
Yeah, for sure.
I never took it lightly, even when I was a kid, because I watched my mom, my grandmother with her kids, my
Yeah.
great grandmother with her children.
Yeah.
I've never took it as a joke. I've
Right.
always knew it was a very extremely serious job.
Right.
So, once I figured that out and I wasn't getting married at a younger age and you wasn't, getting with somebody like that at that age when I was younger, I just decided like one and done.
That was it.
Yeah, because it's a serious job. It's nothing to play with.
Yeah. I had a question for you. Where did it go? So, like, what about the mothers in your life made you realize that it was a serious job and nothing to be taken lightly?
Oh my God. Well, my mother, my grandmother, my grandparents were still together from the time I was born. So I knew that marriage just did work and, was good, and you can raise kids together if it happens like that. But it always doesn't happen like that. My mother ended up being a single mom because my dad was away at college. And, and so I watched her, what she had to do to make our lives good. You know what I'm saying? And she took it seriously, so I learned to take it seriously. And even the other women around me, they took raising their kids very seriously and what they had to do to take care of their children very seriously.
Yeah.
Being a working mom and being a mom that still has a life
Yeah.
of your own for yourself, because
Right.
you have to love yourself in order to love your children.
Right.
If you don't love yourself, believe me, they're going to know that.
Right.
And they're going to experience that
And
while
it'll
you're
affect
raising
them
them.
directly.
Yep,
Yeah, it
and
affects
there
them
it is.
directly.
It affects them directly. So, I watched my mom and I learned a lot from her, what she did as being a single mom. I mean, we always came first. And then she had her job and then she, worked for the union and worked for Ford. But we always came first, whatever we wanted, whatever we needed, whatever was best for us. Where we should live, to get our education. She always made those needs and everything first about us.
Yeah.
Me and my brother. So she did what she had to do.
Yeah.
And she took it seriously. Yeah. That's where I get it from.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I know we talked several times on the show about like how people's like childhoods and upbringing like directly have an impact on them.
Oh, yeah.
So like I can see everything you're saying in you and how you raised me, because I feel like everything that you're saying about grandma also applies to you, and like how you have treated our lives and you taking being a mother seriously and being intentional about how you raised me and the things that you taught me, and making me like a top priority in your life. And yeah, it's cool to like now like
Full circle.
Yeah, to see it, how it all came full circle, and I hope that I can pay that forward myself, because I hope to be a father someday.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. So another point that I wanted to bring up is like mothers that we've adopted into our lives, basically. You know, of course, there's folks who have been around for your whole life, but people that have since come into our life since I was born. You know, for example, like I have a couple friends whose mothers I've become really close with, and they've become like almost like secondary mothers to me.
Right.
And I have relationships with them, and I just think that it's something cool to have that relationship with someone, you know, who again is not part of your family, but like you've just built up this rapport and love for each other and relationship, and you know, it's just something that I would encourage other people to do if it comes naturally, you know,
Right.
like because the children in our lives or the children always see elders as people who like they can admire and look up to in general,
Right, learn from.
and learn from it. And so I think it's important to, you know, when you are a part of a child's life, to whatever extent that relationship is. I'm specifically referring to like your child's best friend, your child's best friend, or like just friends of theirs. I think it's important to, you know, just don't like close yourself off from that, essentially. I'm not saying like go out and try and force this relationship.
Right, don't try to force it, but if it happens naturally and it's good, you know,
embrace it. You
got good people around your kids and their parents are good, you know, try to build a nice little relationship with them.
Yeah.
If it's good possible.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, I think where a lot of people do that as parents and mothers is like on a surface level of like, I should meet so and so's parents before you go over for this sleepover.
Right. Oh yeah, we didn't play that. We definitely did that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's important, but I think you can even go beyond that and like, you know, have a relationship, you know, with this child, and like, you know, kind of while again they may not like consider you to be a second mom, but like I just think it's really cool to see those types of relationships, and I know I have a few of them myself, and I'm really grateful for
definitely
having those mothers in my life as well.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So another aspect of that I think is cool too is like mothers bonding with each other. And again, I think we've talked about it on the show, but it takes a village to raise a child, and like I think you know, us being empathetic and welcoming to other human beings, really,
right,
in our lives is important, and you know, children sometimes need those secondary figures in their lives.
Can help them a lot.
Yeah, because like when you think about like a child and their immediate family, like it can be hard for them sometimes to like take what like their parents are saying, but if you hear it from this secondary figure, right, who is a part of their lives, who's important in their lives, who are supportive of them and things of that nature, then like it might be easier for them to consume that information.
Right. And sometimes they reach out to you, want to talk to you about what they're going through instead of just talking to their parents.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because you need individuals around you who you can relate to, whether it's your parent or someone else's parent, which is it can help a lot in, you know, trials and tribulations of life, you know, because in that area, I always say, I'm rich than a motherfucker. Ain't got a dime, but I got some extraordinary women around me who I love, who I respect, who I love talking to. I have friends whose mothers I love talking to. I love being around.
Yeah.
I'm blessed in this area. I'm rich than a motherfucker.
Yeah, and I mean, I would definitely say that I am too. And again, it's something that has been cultivating in our lives since before I was even a thought.
Yeah. And it's, you know, Mother's Day is hard for some people. They don't have their mothers anymore.
Also very important. Yep, I want to get to this.
Yep. So, you know, it's good to have friends who you can relate to, who's around to bond with you and help you experience what you're experiencing and feeling on that day.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends at work, we talk about our moms. I make fun of them, talk about them, talk about the serious parts of having a mom and the fun parts of having a mom, and the life changes that you go through, you know, being a mom or having a mom. You know, I have friends who have lost their children and passed, you know. So these are things that help women grow. And I'm so blessed in this area. I could talk to my family and my friends who I have, you know, about these things, and we all grow together and learn from one another. That's what I love about my circle, you know, and I love about it for him. because he's learned from them,
Yeah.
you know, and even some of the experiences that they go through, he's learned from them. And, you know, people, especially it seems as though African American women, are learning or much better than what they used to be at supporting one another.
Right.
But I've always had that in my life, so I don't experience it not having it.
Right.
And I know a lot of younger people do, so I just want them to reach out, you know, and learn from your elders, and especially women.
Yeah.
Because another woman can teach you a lot about life.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, and help you grow. And being a mother is a duty. It's a job.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful job if you have it. And if you work at it, just like you do your job, you get paid for.
Yeah.
Because you reap the benefits from your children, who they become, who they are,
Yeah.
you know. And it's just my opinion, nobody else's. I don't expect nobody to think the way I think, that once you find out that you're pregnant, that your child is your main priority.
Yeah.
Love yourself, love your spiritual guidance, whatever that is, and understand that your responsibility is for that child, to raise that child, to be there for that child, and make them first.
Yeah.
Because you have to, because they didn't ask to be here,
Right.
you know. So I always talk about my mother, and I know I've talked about my sister in this area of, you know, being extraordinary and being the shit. So I want to talk about other women in my life. I have friends that are extraordinary women, mothers, grandmothers, aunts, cousins, and friends. Like, they do the whole realm of their family.
You keep going. I'm gonna go grab my phone because I want to pull something up. Go ahead.
And this area is so hard, you know, when you're the one in the family where you have to take care of the entire family. Like, you have to take care of your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, your husband, your children. And then some of these women end up raising their grandchildren. Like, they're extraordinary women. I wish I could bring them all to this little room and you can meet them all. But they know who they are. I have friends who are there for their grandchildren because their children can't be there for their grandchildren for whatever reason it is. But they're doing the damn thing, you know. So being a mother, it changes your life. And it does not stop with just your children. You understand what I'm saying? So I want everyone to know that being a mother is an extraordinary gift.
Yeah.
Everyone does not get it.
Yeah.
You know, to have a child.
Yeah. And
But
so
that doesn't mean you can't be a caring person towards someone else's child.
right,
You
because
know.
that also goes for like aunties. So that's something else I wanted to bring up too. Is
Oh,
that,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I consider Mother's Day to be Happy Aunties Days for my aunts who like don't have children or have children but are aunts who are also
Right.
like share like kind of double duty in my life of being like secondary mothers, you know.
Right,
And I
yep.
think it's important to acknowledge that because while they may not have their own children, they are being there for your children or whoever else in your family or whatever
Oh
the
yeah,
case
aunties
may be.
deserve a hats off too,
Yeah, for sure. I
and
mean,
a bow,
yeah,
and some gifts,
yeah,
and a dinner,
and a card.
and a card.
And, or just a text message,
Or just a
because,
text
or
message,
text
see how they
message, written
doing,
letter,
go visit
yeah,
them every
any of
once in a
that.
while.
Yeah,
Just think
yeah.
about that, you know.
It's very important.
Yes, it is.
So you talked about a lot of stuff that like came up, and so there was a graphic that I shared on social media on Mother's Day because I think it's important to acknowledge the specific point that you made at the beginning of that little segment there about how Mother's Day can be hard for a lot of people, and like there's a lot of different situations and certain things around mothers
Right.
that people kind of ignore.
Microphone fail.
Right. I don't know. This thing is not cooperating today. And so it's basically this graphic right here. So it just says like thinking of you with a bunch of flowers and different sayings under
Oh, that's
each,
pretty.
each
Yeah, you gotta
flowers.
send me that.
Yeah. So it says thinking of you, mothers who have lost children, those who have lost mothers, those with strained mother relationships,
Yes.
mothers with strained child relationships, those who have chosen not to be mothers, and those yearning to be mothers.
Yes.
So I think it's very important that I think we put a lot of focus on Mother's Day on the current mothers who like have multiple children or whatever the case may be. But I think there's just so many different circumstances
Oh,
centered around
definitely.
mothers. So
Yes,
like
it is.
we need to be intentional and supportive and conscious of that when we are speaking to other people about motherhood. And I think one of the things that
Yes.
that's been brought up to me that someone's been asked is like, or that women get asked, I should say in general, is that I've seen multiple women talk about when it comes to motherhood is and questions that are just kind of insensitive and that are literally none of your business. Like, you shouldn't be asking anyone these questions. Why aren't you a mother? Why do you only have one kid or two kids or whatever the case may be? Or you should just have these kids. And then, like, there will be people who, like, will ask you these personal questions. And then they'll be like, if it's just like, if someone says, like, oh, I'm older, so I was an older mother, so I just had one kid, then they'll be like, you should adopt then. But it's just like, what you have to keep in mind is that, like, motherhood, as we spoke about at the beginning of the episode, is a very serious thing.
Job,
Serious job, and it's like, it's a financial obligation, it's a time obligation, it is a mental and physical obligation, and it's important to keep that in mind when you are telling other people how they should live their lives. Because what's
a lot of people don't think about that when they're saying those things to that person.
100%.
They really don't.
They're imposing what they've been socialized to believe as to, like, what you should be.
Yeah.
They're imposing that on other people, or like they're imposing what has happened in their lives on other people. But listen, everybody's situation is just not the same.
Oh, it's not the same.
Yeah, it's just not the same, and it's just not fair to someone who wants to be a mother but is having fertility issues, or
someone who does not want to be a mother in that way,
because they have that right.
Because they have that right to choose. Like, I have friends that don't have children, but when I tell you they're extraordinary women with their families and who they are as beings,
they're
period.
Aunties, as we
they're
like to refer to them as our culture.
Like extraordinary. Like, they're fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's okay not to have your own child.
For sure.
It's just because you're a fucking great human being, you spread the love between your family, your friends, and your caring there, and it's unbelievable. And you made that conscious decision not to have a child because of what you feel and how you feel, and that's your right.
Yeah, it's like a woman's right to do whatever the hell she wants with her body.
There it is.
Period.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about them motherfuckers today. We on the upside,
Alabama.
Yeah, up on the upside of motherhood. And Mother's Day, and, you know, taking care of your mom or whomever on Mother's Day and every day of the year. You know, just being a great human being as a female, not just because you're a mother, but period.
Yeah, and I would another point that I want to make too, and we can, I don't know if you have anything else you want to say, but we can wrap it up here shortly. But it's just that, like, make sure you are checking in on your mothers too. So something I don't want to say is that, like, I know a lot of people will turn around and say, like, oh, well, that's your mom. Like, if you have issues with your mother or whatever, they would be like, oh, it's just your mom, so you should just deal with that. Because, like, anybody who's toxic in your life, or related to you by blood, or like just someone that you've known your whole life, whatever the case may be, like, if they're toxic in your life and they don't feed your life, or they're a negative area in your life that, like, is harmful for you to be around or to address or to stay in contact with, whatever the case may be. Sometimes, like, you don't have to force yourself to keep up with them. But, like, when it's just coming to, like, yes, I have a good relationship with my mom, but I don't call her that often. Like, I would just say, like, encourage people, like, if you have a good relationship with your mother, and, like, they're around in case all those things, and, like, yeah, they may annoy you because they want to talk every day, or, like, have long conversations, or, like, ask you about your day detail by detail, or things of that nature. But,
what
like,
are you talking about?
it's important to you don't ask me this.
No, I'm just messing with you.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's important to still make an effort to call, or just send a text if they text, or it's important to put an effort on both ends, of course, but, like, as the children, I think we kind of sometimes, and often more times than less, fall short on putting in the effort to cultivate a good relationship with our parents, just because, oh, that's just my mom, like, you know what I mean? And like, we get away from that. And I know it happens during certain periods of our lives specifically. You know, it's kind of come more full circle to me. Like I mentioned before, like, I feel weird if we don't text or talk for a whole day. Like, this last week was a little crazy on my end, so, like, we didn't talk as much, and it still felt weird at the end of the night, you know.
That's good.
But, you know, I think we can kind of fall short in that area in as the children, you know, when we do have that kind of relationship with our parents where we can talk to them and things of that nature. So, yeah, like I said, I don't force it if it's not something that is like natural and like, you know, if you have a strained relationship with your mother or whatever the case may be, but it's important to, you know, put in an effort to stay in contact.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Keep up with the things that are going on in each other's lives.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have anything else you want to add about mother?
Let's see, motherhood and mothers.
Yeah.
Let's see, I even have a wonderful mother-in-law who's an extraordinary mother of her children, her grandchildren. Yeah, we didn't talk about stepmom. But I'm blessed in that area. I have a wonderful mother-in-law. Her daughters are wonderful. The extension of her family is wonderful. The way she wakes up every morning and sends out a message to her entire family and friends for a blessing of the day, every day. I appreciate that. And I like to get the comments back. And it's wonderful to be blessed in this area. So I'm very grateful. My stepmother, the shit. I done said that 500 times. My grandma was the shit. Of course, you know that. And my godmother is the shit. Yeah. She don't know how much I love her, but I think she does. She the shit. My friends, my BFS, my sister friend Tracy, she don't have any children, but she the shit. She take care of her family, her nephews, her cousins, her friends. You know, I have a lot of people around me who are just extraordinary people, but they just happen to all be women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're just great. It's wonderful to experience this with all these different people in my life, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, so we all have to go through life learning from each other and picking up from each other. And I'm blessed in that area. And I love these people that surround me, that I'm around all the time. Some crazy ass, wonderful ass women.
Yeah. I mean, like I could only echo exactly what you're saying because all of these women are a part of my life and too. And I'm definitely very fortunate to have all of you as the mothers, aunties in my life as well. And I think that point that you make about stepmothers and mothers-in-laws is again another one of those relationships that like you should be intentional about cultivating a good relationship with. And,
if
you know,
can,
of course, people don't always click, and you know, but like,
and it's reciprocated, then it's wonderful to have that. I just got blessed in this area.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. And I know it's not that way for everyone,
right?
But like, if it's a possibility in that area, I think it's important to put in the effort to try and cultivate.
I even have other mothers.
Yeah, for
my
sure.
sister was my other mother's mother. She's not doing well at this moment. We're praying for her and hope she gets better.
Yeah.
But she's cool. She was cool when we was kids. She was cool, and now she's a pistol. But we love her. We love her and appreciate her also. So all of them. On this day, we want to say, we love you, we appreciate you, we're thinking about you, you're always in our prayers and our thoughts, and I hope you know that. My friends who are mothers and the friends, moms he talked about, they know who they are, you know who they are. Yeah. He talked to them all the time, or whenever he can, and reach out to them, so do I, and I love their kids too. It's a good thing. We're blessed in this area, so we just want to share that and our thoughts about. If you're not, we understand that. Reach across the thing. It might be a cousin that you love like that who's a woman.
Right.
It don't have to just be your mom.
Yeah.
Or a friend's mom who loves you like that.
Yeah,
because he got friends who I love like that.
Yeah, and I think to the point that you just made too is that it's important in our lives to kind of like find our tribe and find our village.
Oh, I love that tribe or village. Yes, I love it.
It's not necessarily always going to be our biological family. So sometimes you just have to go out, like you have to tell the universe like what you want and what you're looking for, and then like you have to put in the effort to get there and find environments where you can be around like-minded people. And it's not always easy. It doesn't always come natural. I was very fortunate to be born into this family that my mom was referring to, but I know that that's just not the case for everyone, and that's okay.
Yes.
But I think it's important for us to find whatever that tribe and village is in our lives, and that goes for like finding the tribe that can help with your children as mothers and parents in general, or just like in your life as well, because I know like that's something that I haven't necessarily like struggled with, but like I've had some issues with in my life, and still to this day, of finding my different tribes and villages for all of my different identities and things of that nature. But that's
We all
like,
do.
Yeah,
We all
yeah,
go through
but,
it.
Yeah, but it's important to do that. For nothing else, for your own personal happiness and mental health.
Mental health and well-being.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
great.
All right.
All right, so that'll do it for today's message. If you enjoyed the show, please rate, like, subscribe, or follow wherever you're listening or watching the video. Follow us on social media at msgfrmernestine on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can join the conversation, share this podcast with your friends, and all that good stuff by tagging us. You use our hashtag, which is spelled the exact same way as our social handle, and also the hashtag PODIN, PODIN. We also accept topic suggestions and feedback, so social media is a good place for those. I know we just got some YouTube comment recently, which was great feedback. So
I got to see that.
something like that. Or it was good feedback. I understand where people are coming from, but we can leave it at that and come back to that.
All right.
So check out our show notes for social media links as well as usually there's links to stories we talk about. We didn't really talk about much today, but I will put a link to the graphic that I'm referring to that I found online. I'll add a link to that. And also, so I'll add a link to that to the show notes, so you can check that out there. And then, so we will be taking another break for a couple weeks due to work, bachelor parties, and other family events and just general obligations. We just have a lot going on this summer.
He does.
Yeah, me most certainly. Mom. Hey, you're going to a couple of these weddings too. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a lot going on right now in our lives, so we're just going to take a couple weeks off, and then we will be recording our next episode on June 4th, which is my birthday.
26. Holla, hey.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then so we'll be releasing that episode sometime that week. So that's the next time we're recording and releasing the episode the week of June 4th, my birth week. So that is all for us, unless you have anything else to add.
I want to say one thing. I want to congratulate somebody I love. Ashley Mims just got her master's. I love you, proud of you, happy for you.
There it is. We hope you join us for the next episode. We'll be back with another message from Ernestine. Thank you. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
LB out.
Deuces.